A lot of clients ask me, how do I wealth create through property ownership? So I thought I'd do a demonstration of how you can buy a property and then gear it up in the future to buy your first investment. Let's say in this example, you're buying a property for $1 million. When you purchase property, there are always purchase costs you need to consider. In this example, the purchase costs, the stamp duty plus just ancillary costs that you may incur from a bank. So at the moment, that cost would look something like $50,000. Okay, so when you're doing that, you need to look at the total buying cost of $1,050,000, because that's actually what you need to cover at settlement. Your deposit needs to be at least 20% to avoid mortgage insurance. I am going to do this example without mortgage insurance, but you can leverage mortgage insurance to help you buy a property quicker. I have other videos around that you can look at. All right, so in this example, to avoid mortgage insurance, you need $250,000 in contribution to purchase. That means your loan will be $800,000 by the time you go to the bank. And for that, that's an 80% risk, no LMI. Now let's look at the next stage of the investment. Let's say that you've been living in your property for anywhere between 3 to 5 years now, and you paid down a little bit off your home loan. The reason it can take up to 5 years is you need time to build equity in your home to be able to redraw that equity and then purchase it for another property. So in this example, we're going to say that your property value is now worth $1.2 million. Of that $1.2 million, remember you can borrow up to 80% with no lender's mortgage insurance. 80% of 1.2 is $960,000. The reason we keep you under 80% is you also get good pricing at this level. If you're topping up your loan to $960, let's say your current debt is now $750. Previously you'd borrowed $800,000, so you've paid off $50,000 in this example. You actually now have access to $210,000 with no LMI. So with a minor cost essentially. Let's now put this into perspective. You have two loans. Loan 1 is your owner-occupied loan. Loan 2 is your investment property loan. Although this loan sits against your owner-occupied property as a security, you can draw cash out to then pay into the next purchase. This is a far better strategy than cross-collateralizing your securities with your investment. Essentially, you're limiting your risk with the bank by taking cash out and paying it into the second property. Now let's consider the investment property purchase. In this example, we're going to use a purchase price of $800,000, okay? Up to $800,000, I should say. The purchase cost for an $800,000 investment property is similar to that of an owner-occupied property in that you have stamp and purchase costs to consider. In this example, we're using New South Wales stamp and estimated purchase cost, which is $40,000. So your total buy-in is going to be $840,000 that you need to cover at settlement. Now, we've borrowed $210,000. Of that $210,000, I'm going to leave you with a buffer of $10,000. I want you to put $200,000 in towards the purchase so that you have a total new lending of $640,000. Okay? Now, remember we have loan 1 and 2 already set up. Our new loan that we're going to be setting up for $640,000 sits underneath. That means that your total outstanding liability now with the lender is going to be $1.810 million. All right. It's really important that we set these structures up correctly so that you get the best outcome. Now, a tax accountant will probably tell you to set these two loans up as interest only. That's advisable for cash flow reasons. I like both principal and interest only structures. We can talk about that in another video, but I just wanted to give you an idea that you can have both either principal and interest or interest only payments. Your owner occupied would generally always be principal and interest because you want to pay this one down first. Your priority is to pay down loan number 1 first because there's no real tax advantages to having debt against your owner occupied property. Then you'd aim for paying down loan 2 second as a priority because that's against your own occupied property as a security. And then your third priority would be to pay down your investment. If you have any questions around this structure or any structures like these, please call our office and we can discuss further based on your personal circumstances.